Okay, I guess we got to talk about it now. Forcing me to talk about vaccines, vaccine mandates, vaccine passports, the science in air quotes, because it's not really about data or scientific stuff. It's just about political agenda and a religion of wokeness. That's all that it's about. It's total postmodern science, which is not actually science, by the way, at all. We're in a world now where I guess Cooper Stuff agrees with Nicki Minaj and Bill Maher, the liberal atheist. More than I agree with woke Christianity. Jesus would make you get a vaccine. Stop caring about your rights so much. Oh my gosh. Shh, shh, shh. Hold on, I got something to say to you. Shh. We're going to have to jump into it because all that is going on, if you look at the facts, I'm going to drop it. We're going to drop it like it's hot today. If you like what I have to say, do me a favor. Tell somebody about it. Tell somebody, if you think somebody needs encouragement to stand their ground on all of this insane nonsense that is going on, whether you've been vaxxed or not, whether you believe in the vaccines or not, isn't even the point I'm trying to make. If somebody needs encouragement, you pass this along. You go to iTunes, you give Cooper Stuff a 5-star rating, not because of my own ego, but because it will get more and more people watching this stuff, because people need to know what is going on. A lot of people already know it, but they need to be reminded of what's going on. All that's going on here is an insane power grab. This is just an attack on Western values, on freedom, on the things that built the West and the things that built, namely, of course, some in America right now. That's all that's going on about this, because when you look at the data, when you look at the stuff being said, it is such absolute nonsense, and it is such absolute lies, it is such bullying tactics and tyranny and totalitarianism that you can't help but to ask questions. Even if you believe the vaccines are good, you have to look at what's going on and say, okay, there's something really nefarious going on. That's all that this is. We're going to drop it like it's hot, but first you need to know this. Your president is losing his patience with you. You're the problem. You're the one. You're probably a bigot, and you're probably a phobe of some sort, and you're the problem, and you hate people. Just ask the woke Christians. You won't be able to tell what they say because their mouths are full of woke cookies, but they're like, blah, 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 blah. Shh.
My message to unvaccinated Americans is this. What more is there to wait for? What more do you need to see? We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin, and your refusal has cost all of us.
You hear that? He's losing his patience with you. Wait a minute. You're losing your patience with me? You're losing your patience with me. We're losing our patience with you. And this is going to get worse before it gets better. We need to stand up for what we believe in. We're going to drop some truth today on Cooper Stuff. Hey everybody, welcome back to Cooper Stuff. All right, I'm on the road, obviously. I need to tell you this. Skillet just dropped a brand new single. It's going to rock your ever-loving face off. I hope that you hear in the lyrics the things that we've been talking about on Cooper Stuff for a long time, and I hope that it encourages you in your faith. That's the whole point. I want Christians to understand the assault. You see, I got like a strobe light happen. You see that in the dressing room. Anyway, I want Christians to hear Cooper Stuff and to stand firm in your faith, not because you need to agree with everything Cooper Stuff says about politics or vaccines or whatever, or masks. I don't care if you agree with everything I say. That's not the point. The point is this. There's a revolution happening against the West. It's against the Western civilization. The things that built the West, all right, and our freedoms. Do you know, and are you aware, I'm sure you are, guess what one of those things that built the West is? Christian values. It is Judeo-Christian ethics, the 10 Commandments, the ethical words of Jesus Christ. There is no denying that that is what the West is built on. That is what our foundation and our morality is built on. Now, you hear a lot of people say, we need unity in America. There will be no unity in America because we no longer believe on any core values, all right? We can talk about that in a different episode. But we don't agree on anything that is morality. You can't possibly have unity with somebody. If somebody says, hey, we're going to go get dessert tonight, but there's only one option, and it's ice cream, and we all need to be unified. Well, have people say ice cream is immoral. And the other half says, no, ice cream is absolutely moral. By the way, ice cream is moral. Anyway, all of a sudden you say, no. Well, it's moral. No, it's immoral. Hey, we're all going to go eat it together and we're going to be unified. Well, that doesn't make any sense. That's what's happening in America. There will be no unity in America. We don't believe in anything. We have no commonality, even as Americans, because you can't actually, you can actually say that at the bottom line, we are all this one thing when that one thing is built on a foundation that half the people in the country say is actually evil. You see what I'm saying? There will be no unity in America. What is happening is a revolution against the West, against American values, it's another. But really what is at the bottom of that is Christianity. That's why we are on the chopping block. I want to encourage you in your faith so that your eyes are open, that you see what is actually going on. You don't have to agree with me about everything. Absolutely fine. I've never taken some harsh stance on vaccines, and even when I talk about masks, I've said what I think about masks and things like that. I have grace for you to do what you think is right. All right, that is absolutely fine. What I am against is this absolute tyranny that is happening, this totalitarianism that is absolutely happening, and now we see it with these vaccine mandates. I want to say this from the get. If you're looking for this episode to be me talking about the constitutionality of the mandates, that's above my pay grade. Not going to talk about that. But guess what? We don't even need to talk about that because there's so much nonsensical stuff that happens before that I really care about. I care about cultural censorship and freedom of speech, liberty, and all these kind of things. And as you know, I'm going to read a bunch of statistics. I care about all of that. I talk about the nonsensical nature of woke ideology, right? And the lies. It's the lies that I care about. We don't even have to get into the constitutionality, which I do believe these mandates are absolutely tyrannical and they're totalitarian. There's no question about that. The move for leftist authoritarianism right now is absolutely insane. What's happening is that the leftist authoritarian power, that's where the power is in the Democratic Party. That has hijacked the liberal movement. And you even see it in liberals, as I said, like Bill Maher, people that you wouldn't expect it. They're saying, hey, this is actually authoritarianism. This is actually not a good thing. Old school liberals are not into the leftist authoritarian stuff, but the leftist stuff is hijacking that party. That's where all the juice is. So I'm not going to talk about the constitutionality. That's above my pay grade. I have my opinions on that, of course, and obviously you would know what they are. But we don't even need to talk about that. What we need to talk about is the absolute nonsensical nature of this, the absolute fear that is being pumped into America day after day after day. So before we even talk about the Biden stuff, I want to play you this clip. This is the biggest thing going on to show you that when all of our overlords are talking about the science, right? And they make up all these names for you. If you don't agree with them, then you're a science denier. I talked about that. You got to wear the scarlet letters, the SD, science denier. You need to be ousted out of whatever. And then they start making fun of Christians because Christians believe in fairy tales, but not true stuff like the science. The science doesn't even mean data. It doesn't even mean stuff that we kind of understand now, and this is the best way to move forward because we do have some facts and like all the things that you used to think science means, hypothesis, trial and error, the scientific method. That's not what the science means. The science is now just a pre-prescribed political ideology. That's all it is. That what they say is, this is the political agenda. We're going to find something that we believe supports that in some way, and we're going to call it the science. You see what I'm saying? You've got to watch this clip. The biggest thing with all of these crazy mandates that are happening, we don't have to talk about the constitutionality. All that we need to do is call them out for the liars that they are, and they are lying to you. They are liars. It is not about it. The biggest question being, obviously, like I know right now because we're playing shows, and you go do these things and say, well, you got to have a vaccine. And if you don't have the vaccine, then you have to take a test. Well, we all know. Why isn't everybody taking a test? We already know. I'm not saying I want that. I don't care. But we already know. Why isn't everybody taking a test? Having a vaccine does not mean that you can't be positive for COVID. Doesn't mean that you can't spread COVID. We all know that already. The biggest thing that people want to know about is natural immunity. Why are they lying to us about this? The first clip I'm going to show you, and then I'm just going to go off. Dr. Fauci finally asked that, media, the media that's so moral, they're so much better than you. You're a bad person, but the media, they're like philosophers. You're not. You're a bad person. But the media, they're such good people. They wake up and they eat fat-free woke cookies. The media is better people than you. But they finally asked Dr. Fauci, so what about natural immunity? Like, if somebody had COVID, and then why should they also get the vax? Because we know the vax is moral. And if you don't get the vax, you're on the wrong side of history. You're a bad person. But what about that, Dr. Fauci? You got anything to say about that?
There was a study that came out of Israel about natural immunity. And basically the headline was that natural immunity provides a lot of protection, even better than the vaccines alone. What are people to make of that? So as we talk about vaccine mandates, I get calls all the time. People say, I've already had COVID, I'm protected, and now the study says maybe even more protected than the vaccine alone. Should they also get the vaccine? How do you make the case to them?
You know, that's a really good point, Sanjay. I don't have a really firm answer for you on that. That's something that we're going to have to discuss regarding the durability of the response.
What? What? Huh? You haven't thought. We really don't have a good answer for that yet. We have to look into that. Why don't you? Hold on. You're the premier epidemiologist in the nation, and you don't have an answer for that. This is crazy because you know what? We have an answer for that. My kids have an answer for that. I'm going to tell you why they have an answer for that, Dr. Fauci. We have an answer for that because we do this thing. I mean, I don't want to act like I'm brilliant and start making, I don't want to make people think that you're stupid and I'm some really, really smart person, but I'm a genius. So just listen to this answer. This is why I have an answer for that. We do this thing. It used to be called Googling something. Now we call it DuckDuckGoing something. So you go on and you look at, these things come up and they're called like reports. It's called data. And so what you do is you look at these letters and they're all lined up like this. You look at these letters and you start from left to right. And if you're in America reading English, and you read them. And as you read them, it goes into your brain and you understand what the words mean. It's called like thinking and assessing information. We call that reading. And so then as you read this stuff and you go, oh, there's reports that now have come out of many places, not just in the last 3 weeks, in the last months and months and months. Pretty definitive reports so far. Now, because I actually believe in, data and science more than the left does, I realize that these things may change as we go. It may change because we're humans and we don't know everything. It's called humility. Look it up. Humility says this is what we kind of understand for now. All of the definitive research we had says this. If you did have COVID, I'm about to say something that can get us all yanked down from social media. Not allowed to say it because of the science. If you've had COVID, then you've got protection against COVID. Guess what we found out? Pretty definitively so far. If you've had COVID, then you actually have more protection than if you never had COVID but had the vaccine. Oh my gosh! The science. I read it in some data. We don't have a good answer for that yet. Why? Why are you lying to us? Does this not make... Look, I don't care if you might have the vaccine. You might be fine with the vaccine. I don't even care. I hear you. I feel you. My grandma got the vaccine too. Go for it. That's fine. Why are they doing this? Why are they lying to us? So we have all this research showing, and there's tons. There's some out of Israel. There's also one from, there's something that came up from America. It was like 560,000, people. We know this now. If you had COVID, then you have protection against COVID. Better protection and longer lasting protection than if you never had COVID but had the vaccine. So why are they making vaccine? This is the obvious question. I'm not saying something that you don't know. I'm just trying to encourage you. Yeah, I think that too. It makes no sense. That on its face means this. We don't have to get into the constitutionality. We don't have to get into is this actually legal? And is it actually moral? And is it actually this? No. They're lying to us. That's the end of the conversation to me. Why are you lying to us? We also know this, that there are a lot of complications, a lot of people that have had adverse reactions to these vaccines. You're not allowed to say it. You're not allowed to say it. Get you kicked off of social media. We know it. And it also looks like that many of the people having these adverse reactions, it seems that if you had COVID and then got the vaccine, that you might actually be more likely to have an adverse reaction. So in other words, you might actually be putting yourself at more risk by getting the vaccine if you already had COVID. According to the data we have out now, why aren't they saying that? Why is Dr. Fauci not saying? He's the lead guy, the science. The science means nothing to me. I got zero poops for the science because they don't even believe what they're saying. It's not about data for these people. It's about religious dogma. They are lying to you. We all know this. You're probably going, John, say something I don't already know. Yeah, I'm not really going to do that because I'm not all that smart. I'm just telling you what you already know. Why are they lying to us? There's something going on with, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like a teenager, right? Like a teenager that comes home 3 hours after they're supposed to, and they reek of alcohol, right? They're missing some of their clothes. And the parents are like, where's your clothes? And the kids are like, well, we actually haven't thought of a good answer for why my clothes are gone. You didn't think about that before the interview? Shame on the media. Shame on the media for taking way too long to ask the question, because these media people are nothing more than just shills to the religious dogma. They are not moral people. What they keep doing is they keep browbeating you to make you seem like you're an immoral person, when in the end, all that they are is they're just shills for the religious dogma. That's all that they're doing. Shame on them for waiting this long to ask. They finally ask. Shame on them for not thinking of an answer of why you showed up 3 hours late, drunk, missing some of your clothes. At least make up like a smart teenager's like, I'm going to come in late. I'm going to make up a lie. I'm going to say, oh, we had a flat tire and this and this. This dude can't even think up a lie. I got zero poops for these people. I got zero poops. They're lying to you, and we need more truth tellers out there. Sick of it. All right. Next thing I want to mention. I'm not even going to get in to whether the vaccines work or not. I'm not getting into that at all. I'm not smart enough for that. I'm going to read some stuff in a little while that everybody should be aware of. And if the media was doing a half decent job, which they are not, if they were not lying to you, if they were not just shills for this, political religious ideology, everybody would know it. But of course they don't. I'm not even getting into whether it works or not. But we're watching this speech. All of you already know this. Within 60 seconds, 75 seconds, the president is saying two different things. He's saying, number one, the vaccine's amazing. It's a miracle cure. This is the way we get out of this. It's going to heal the land. It's going to help everything. It's absolutely awesome. 90 seconds later, he's saying that if you're unvaccinated, you're putting everybody at risk. This has been pointed out by lots of people, so it's not a genius thing to point out. It's the first thing you think of when you watch it. Both of those things cannot be true. I'm not even saying whether I think the vaccines are awesome or whether, I'm not saying that. You do whatever you want to do. That's above me, all right? But you can't say both of those things. You can't say they're absolutely awesome and they really work, but the unvaccinated are putting everybody at risk. Here's the clip.
The bottom line, we're going to protect vaccinated workers from unvaccinated coworkers.
This is really unbelievable. To a dumb person like me that does not have a college degree, I'm a science denier apparently, and I'm a bad person. I'm not a moral person like all the media people are. But to somebody like me, it makes me go, then why am I getting a vaccine? Why? I don't understand what you're saying. Why am I getting a vaccine if the vaccine really, really, really protects me, except not against the virus? This doesn't make any sense. This makes no sense. What you're saying is no, it really does protect you from the virus, from dying and this and the other. It just doesn't protect you from unvaccinated people. This makes no sense. It's like they're saying the quiet part out loud, and for some strange reason, the media is going along with it, and people actually believe it. When I said that we were playing concerts again, and I said I'm not going to play vaccine mandated shows, I think it's wrong. I think it's just it's a conviction for me. I believe it's morally wrong. I believe it's playing into the lie, this propaganda machine, this thing that's happening, keeping all of us living in fear day after day after day. Somebody commented on Skillet. I'm not mad at this person, whoever it is. I love them. But they said, John, how can you possibly say that? One unvaccinated person can get an entire arena full of people sick. They can put everybody's life at risk. I mean, this poor person, I'm not mad at them. I love them. I don't mind them saying that. The anxiety of these people, that is not true. It's like in their minds, they're imagining like, remember The Mummy? Remember the film The Mummy? With like Brendan Fraser, and it's like the part where he's like, and like all the, it's when all the stuff's coming out of his mouth. The unvaccinated, like the leper comes in, and the whole arena is like, I'm getting COVID. That's not a thing that can happen. That's not a thing that can happen. This is getting out of control. There's so much to talk about this that I don't even know where to start. Like I say, if one unvaccinated person can kill the entire arena, well, then one vaccinated person can kill the entire arena. I mean, obviously it's not true, but just saying, this thing we do called reading, we read the data. Everything shows it now. If you're vaccinated, double vaxxed, you still can get COVID. You still spread COVID. There's even some data out of the UK that is suggesting that if you never had COVID, but you got vaccinated, you're actually more likely, by far more likely, to contract COVID-19 than someone who actually had it once. By far. Look at this. I want to show you this. This was up on CNN. CNN posted this. She was vaccinated, but was infected by others who chose not to be. The cost was her life. This is what one family wrote on their mother's obituary after she died of COVID-19. Can you believe this propaganda? Can you believe this fear-mongering? Absolute fear-mongering. And they get away with it because what they say is, well, hey, we're not saying that we think this. This is what the family said. So they get away with the fear-mongering. There's so much. She was vaccinated, but was infected by others who chose not to be. Isn't that what vaccination is supposed to do? Vaccination is supposed to protect you from the disease. This makes no sense. Also, you got to ask the question, how do they know who maybe she was infected by other vaccinated people who were more likely to contract COVID-19 than people who were unvaccinated but already had COVID-19. Maybe that's a thing. You guys have already seen. You go on Instagram and you put hashtag natural immunity. It wipes out everything and redirects you to where you can get a COVID vaccine. Why? Because vaccine is the religious dogma. It's not actually about the data. It's not actually about saying, hey, if you did have COVID, guess what? You've got good immunity and you've actually got better immunity than people who are double vaxxed. And you're less likely to get COVID again if you had COVID one time than if you never had COVID, but you had the vax. And actually, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't get the vax. Go talk to your doctor because it could actually put you in a more a category that you are actually more at risk to get adverse reactions. This is unbelievable stuff. This fear-mongering. I read this and it's absolutely true. Go look on the CDC. Go on the internet and look it up. Find out the risk factors to die from COVID-19. It will pull up on the CDC. What are the biggest risk factors of people dying from COVID-19? Number one, most people I think at this point know that number one is obesity. All right, but number two is not talked about, and number two is nearly tied. All right, it is nearly tied with the number one. And my guess, what number two was going to be, diabetes, heart conditions, and autoimmune, and all that. I've kind of assumed it was going to be that. Diabetes was actually my guess. Wrong. It's not. You know what the number two risk factor that is nearly tied with number one? Anxiety and fear related illnesses. Anxiety and fear related illnesses. Now, you know why this is amazing? It's because when I look out at what's going on right now with my spiritual eyes on, as we all should have as Christians. What I really see going on is a campaign of propaganda and lies and fear. That's what to me, it is this is a spiritual issue. Yes, it's a physical issue. People are actually dying from COVID-19. That's a real disease. Not saying it's not. That's obviously real. But to me, it's not really a pandemic of COVID. It's a pandemic of fear, which is a spiritual matter, right? This is a spiritual matter. I've talked about this before. It is a thing that locks you up into fear that makes you so crazy. While I'm talking about fear, I've got a strobe light going on in the dressing room. If you watch this on video, it's kind of fear. I have that kind of magic in my brain, apparently. It is a pandemic of fear to keep you locked up, to keep you absolutely locked up, that I am so afraid that I will give up anything to keep me safe. Government, keep me locked up in my room, keep me isolated. Nobody do this. Start pointing the fingers at people that don't mask. Start pointing the fingers at people who aren't going to vax. Pointing at fingers that want to go back to work. Pointing at fingers at people that fill in the blank. Keep me absolutely locked up in fear. A lot of Christians have fallen into this too, because we have forgotten that we don't have a spirit of fear. That's what the Bible says. For I did not give you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. We are the ones that are supposed to be saying to the world, oh, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? We're supposed to be the ones saying that to the world. And I think we are, and I think a lot of you are. There's a lot of people saying it, but we are being beat over the head, bludgeoned day after day after day, and it takes a toll on you, doesn't it? I wonder if some of you guys feel the way I feel, which is that I do feel secure in the Lord. I do feel secure in what I believe is happening. It's almost like mass psychosis, right? This fear campaign. I feel secure about that. But I got to be honest with you. After getting bludgeoned day after day after day by the media, by big tech censoring everything, yanking down things that you're not allowed to say that are against the religion of the science, I start going, am I the crazy person? I'm just being honest with you. I know I talk about, being strong, sticking it to the man, standing firm in your faith. It starts to get to me after a while. I start feeling like maybe I'm the crazy one. This is the power of the fear campaign that is happening out there. And this CNN article that I just read to you up on their not an article, this, post. I can't believe, shame on these people. Shame on these people. The president and big media and Dr. Fauci and big tech, they got to decide, does this vaccine work or not? I think what they're trying to say is this. The vaccine is awesome and it works. And if everybody get it, we would be saved. The problem is it's you unvaccinated people. It's you unvaccinated people that are actually causing everyone else to die. And it makes absolutely no sense. I think that what they are getting at is that you people, by not being vaccinated, are causing the vaccine, the COVID to mutate and this and this and this and this. And so therefore, you're actually the problem. Here's the thing. There is so much data that speaks against that. I'm not a scientist. In fact, I'm literally a moron. I'm not here to tell you whether that's true or not. That's above me. But what I am saying, I'm going to read you this. There are a lot of studies coming out, you guys. A lot of studies that our media is just ignoring. They're ignoring all the research from Israel. They're ignoring all the research from the UK, all right? And according to Alex Berenson's, Substack post that he does, he reports on research from all these things. Right now, the UK is experiencing this rise not only in COVID, but in deaths. Now, from the age 16 and over, the UK's got over 80% vaccination. Over 80% from the age 16 and over, all right? And their COVID cases are on the rise. Their deaths are actually on the rise. So everybody's freaking out, wondering, well, how this is happening. Did you know this? 75% of the people dying in the UK from COVID, 75% of the people dying in the UK from COVID are people who were double vaxxed. The media is just not covering it. Only 25% of the people dying from COVID in the UK are unvaxxed. Now, it is obviously true. There is not a whole ton of people in that country that are unvaxxed, right? We know that because they have some over 80% vaccination rates. But the point is that their death rates are on the rise. The point is this. that even if you are double vaxxed, yes, you can still get COVID. Even if you are double vaxxed, yes, you can still die from COVID. The point isn't that the unvaccinated are killing you. The point is that the efficacy of these vaccines are very in question, and you can't deny that anymore. I'm not telling you they don't work, don't go get one. I'm just saying the efficacy of the vaccines are absolutely in question. That's the reason they're all freaking out about these booster shots, right? I told you just the other day, the Biden administration is pushing the booster shots. Everybody's going to have to get booster shots. Well, as you know, the World Health Organization is saying, don't do this. This is a bad idea. I just told you the other day. And the Biden administration, no, we're pushing forward. Well, the FDA just had this thing, you may have seen it just on Friday. The FDA had this big thing. You can go online and watch the thing. And so in this kind of 8-hour discussion about the FDA, they're going to vote on whether we should do these booster shots. Good news is they ended up voting not to do these booster shots for ages 16 to, I think, 64, I believe, to not roll that out, which is, I believe, really good. There are a lot of people saying, this could actually lead to more people dying. Maybe this isn't a good idea. If you go and watch the thing, I've got a couple things to read to you. What you're going to be amazed about is that people from the FDA were saying things that if I said them on my podcast, I would get yanked down from social media. You'd be absolutely censored because you're not allowed to say them. They're actually saying, hey, we may need to be doing some more research on this stuff. They should have been saying this a long time ago. Shame on the media for never covering it. That's all that I got to say. I want to read you a couple of these things. Okay, I got to read this. It's a little bit long, but then you don't have to go watch the whole 8-hour thing, all right? So listen to this. My name is Dr. Jessica Rose. I am a viral immunologist and computational biologist. This is a bar plot that shows the past 10 years of VAERS data plotted against the total number of adverse event reports for all vaccines for the year 2000 through 2020, and for COVID-associated products only for 2021. There's an over 1,000 increase in the total number of adverse events for 2021, and we're not even done with 2021. Read it again. There's an over 1,000% increase, 1,000% increase in the total of adverse events for 2021, and we're not even done with 2021. This is highly anomalous on both fronts. These increased reporting rates are not due to increased rates in injections and not due to simulated reporting. This has been shown using a comparative analysis of influenza data. The onus is on the public health officials, FDA, CDC, and policymakers to answer to these anomalies and acknowledge the clear risk signals emerging from VAERS data and to confront the issue of COVID injectable products' huge risks that, in my opinion, outweigh any potential benefits associated with these products, especially for children. This is amazing. This gets you yanked down from social media, cast out of society, right? This is a time series plot that shows the total cumulative number of cardiovascular, immunological, and neurological adverse events for 2021 associated with COVID products. For the cumulative absolute counts are normalized for the total number of fully injected individuals in the U.S. We can see that 1 in 660 individuals are succumbing to and reporting immunological adverse events associated with the COVID product. She put reporting was loud, and the reason she's reporting is because a lot of people have it and don't report it. The underreporting factor is not considered here. This is a phylogenetic tree showing the emergence of the alpha against delta variants of COVID-19 over time. The emergence of both of these variants and their subsequent clustering arose in very close temporal proximity to the rollout of the COVID product in Israel. Israel is one of the most injected countries, and it appears from this data that this represents a clear failure of these products to provide protective immunity against emergent variants and to prevent transmission, regardless of how many additional shots administered. This is amazing. And this begs the question as to whether these injection rollouts are driving the emergence of the new variants. There's a clear and present danger of the emergence of variants of concern if we continue with these alleged booster shots. I'm going to repeat the last part again. This begs the question as to whether these This begs the question as to whether these injection rollouts are driving the emergence of the new variants. This stuff has been being said for a very long time. I've never talked about it on Cooper stuff because it is honestly so far above me. I don't want to be giving you guys information that I just don't understand. All right? I'm just being honest with you. But the fact that you can't ask questions about it, that's a conversation stopper for me. Do you understand? In other words, I said earlier, we don't have to get to the constitutional nature of this. I don't even have to get to the bottom of all the scientific data and me understand it enough to pretend I'm some kind of doctor. I'm not. The fact that there are scientists reading this data and saying, hey, it looks like this, but you are not allowed to say it. That is the end for me. Now that comes into my world, all right? The immunology stuff and the science stuff, not my world. Rock and roll, my world now. But when it comes into the, you are not allowed to say something, you are not allowed to question, shut up and do what you're told, censorship, cancel culture, now you're in my world because I recognize those signs. That is authoritarianism. That comes into something that I believe that not just conservatives in America, Christians in America should be revolting against. We should be standing against that. And a lot of Christians are now, which I am so very proud of. But you still got the woke Christians saying, no, we're going to be on the other side because of love and because of this. I got a question for you, woke Christians. What do you have to say about this research? What do you have to say about scientists being silenced because they go against the science? Remember, it's not true science. It's postmodern science. It's a religion. What do you have to say about that? Do you not think that that should matter in this? We have to love people. It's not about your rights. What if the science is going to lead to more people dying? Do you know what I mean when I say that? If you're only listening and you're not watching, when I say the science, it's air quotes. I don't mean true data. What if the science, the religion, this dogmatic, leftist, authoritarian religion that tries to use the science as their weapon, what if it actually leads to more people dying? And it wasn't actually about data. It wasn't actually about saving lives. All it was about was advancing an authoritative political ideology. What do you think about that? Do you think Jesus would stand up against that? I'm going to read you another one from that thing. Let me read you the second one. I'm sure the media is not going to cover it. This is from somebody called Steve Kirsch. This is another long one. Sorry. This is Steve Kirsch. I'm the executive director of the COVID-19 Early Treatment Fund. Advance to slide number 4, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to focus my remarks today on the elephant in the room that nobody likes to talk about, that the vaccines kill more people than they save. I'm not saying it. I'm not even saying that he's right. How do I know? I'm not a scientist. I'm just reading you the thing that they said on the FDA panel that the media is not talking about. But there are a lot of people talking about this. I read this report, by the way, I believe on the Epic Times. So I got to give them credit for where I got this from. You should go check that out. Read it again. The elephant in the room that nobody likes to talk about, that the vaccines kill more people than they save. Today, we focus almost exclusively on COVID death saves and vaccine efficacy because we were led to believe that vaccines are perfectly safe. But this is simply not true. For example, there are 4 times as many heart attacks in the treatment group in the Pfizer 6-month trial report. That wasn't bad luck. There it shows heart attacks happen 71 times more often following the vaccines compared to any other vaccine. In all, 20 people died who got the drug. 14 died who got the placebo. Few people notice that if the net all-cause mortality from the vaccine is negative. Vaccines, boosters, and mandates are all nonsensical. This is the case today. Death rates. He's slide to number 7. I didn't watch the slide. You can go on there and watch the slide if you want to. Slides scare me. Don't understand them. I like to read. I don't get that stuff. This shows that the all-cause death light rate, and in 3 cases, only the VAERS numbers are statistically significant, but the other numbers are troubling. Even if the vaccines had 100% protection, it still means we killed 2 people to save 1 life. 4 experts did analyses using completely different non-U.S. data sources, and all of them came up with approximately the same number of excess vaccine-related deaths, about 411 deaths per million doses. That translates into 150,000 people have died. The next slide would be slide number 11, the nursing home. Now, the real numbers confirm that we kill more than we saved. And I would love everyone to look at the Israel Ministry of Health data on the 90-plus-year-olds, where we went from a 94.4% vaccinated group to 82.9% vaccinated in the last 4 months. In the most optimistic scenario, it means that 50% of the vaccinated people died and 0% of unvaccinated people died. Unless you can explain that to the American public, you cannot approve the boosters. This is Steve Kirsch. Look, I have no idea what half that even means. I don't even know what it really means. What I do know it means is that we have a presidential administration pushing boosters and vaccine mandates at the same time. Okay, so what that is going to mean is that not only are you going to have vaccine mandates, which are already nonsensical, which already put people who had COVID already at more risk of adverse effects if they are going to get the shots, plus a whole host of other things. Plus, you got the booster. What are they going to do with the boosters? Are then you going to have a mandate to then also have the booster, which the World Health Organization is saying, don't do this, it's a really bad idea. The FDA panel is saying, don't do this, it's a really bad idea. At the same time that they are also now saying, even for 16 and over. I already told you guys the report the other day. Report came out. Data says, for now, that boys who get the vaccine are 6 times more likely to be hospitalized from getting the vaccine than if they just got COVID in the first place. And if they got COVID in the first place, they also have the benefit of getting immunity. That is stronger than they ever would have from the vaccine. How come you're not allowed to ask this? This is so absolutely nonsensical. Can we not see that this is just about other things? This isn't about data. I'm not telling you not to get the vaccine. I'm not telling you that trust that person that Steve Kirsch got. I have no idea. I have no idea. But there is enough information out there that you have to ask. Let me ask you this. I know somebody that was saying recently, you know what, you shouldn't go on tour. You're putting people at risk and this and the other. And I'm just listening to this going, all right, he has been double vaccinated and he has COVID now. And he's blaming people that are unvaccinated for getting COVID. Here's my question for you. Oh, baby. This is anecdotally. And if you disagree with me, send me a comment. I'm not mad at all. I'm not even trying to be dogmatic. I'm telling you my own anecdotal stories. Okay? Let me ask you this question. Do you know anybody who had COVID last year who has COVID again now or has had it recently? Do you know anybody like that? I literally know 0 people. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. This is anecdotal. I have no earthly idea. What I know for a fact is that I don't know a single person who had COVID last year who has gotten COVID again. I don't know anybody like that. However, I know a ton of people who have been double vaxxed and double masked who have COVID right now, and some of them have had serious complications. This idea that they're not going to the hospitals, that's not proving to be true. It's definitely not proving to be true in the UK, who are a little bit ahead of us and have a much higher vaccination rate than we do. It's true for Israel, which is one of the most vaccinated places in the world, if not, it's one of them anyway. Well, that's happening to them more. Those people are getting hospitalized. Those people are dying. I know people that have been double vaccinated and they masked and they have COVID. Some of them have been in the hospital, had serious complications, but I don't know anybody that had COVID once that has had it again. I don't know anybody like that. Do you? Send me a comment. I won't be mad at all. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe the science will come out and, the science will definitely say that I'm wrong. Maybe true data will come out and say I'm wrong. Anecdotally, I don't know that to be the case. So when I look at all of this stuff with the crazy mandates, the crazy stuff they're trying to do to not get you to have a job anymore, I just look at this and I just think, shame on the government, shame on big media, shame on big tech. Can you not see at this point that all of these people are joined together in leftist authoritarianism to try to grab more power over your life? You know that there are still people on the left that don't believe in cancel culture. They're like, that's just made up by conservatives. Cancel culture isn't even really, it's accountability culture. Really? Really? What those people just said from the FDA would get you canceled from social media. You can't even look up a hashtag natural immunity on Instagram. That will get you canceled. You're not going to be able to go get a job. I had somebody commented on my post the other day from Canada. I saw actually a couple of them, but one in particular that I read that said, John, pray for us up here in Canada. We are losing our jobs if we're not willing to go get vaccinated. We are losing our jobs. And that's true in a way that America's not. I still have woke Christians who say, John, you've just gone completely conspiracy theory. This whole, you're going to lose your job if you don't get vaccinated. You're going to lose this. They're going to kick you off social media, cancel culture. Hey, that's just right-wing conspiracy. All you got to do is look at Canada, man. Look at Canada. Just like that person that commented on my post on Friday about Nicki Minaj said, John, pray for us. We're losing our jobs up here. It's true. There's authoritarianism happening in Canada right above us, in a way that's not happening in America yet. It can happen like that. We need Christians to stand up to this, and so much of the woke Christian mob that is just so in line with basically the leftist. I really don't understand it. I mean, I love you, but I don't understand it. I don't understand why you're not looking at the same stuff that I'm looking at. And instead of throwing out all the Jesus would do this, it's all about loving people. Which leads me to my last thing. I'm going to use this as an example to show you the things. When they talk about racism and stuff, it's not really, they're not talking about racism like what you think it means. Racism is postmodern now. It's postmodern racism. Just like the science is just postmodern science. It's not science. Racism is not really even racism. It's just what they say, right? That's what they say. But here's how I know it. If you saw the thing that happened to Larry Elder, who was the guy that was running for governor in California, you know, they had the recall, which failed and all that. But he's a black conservative that was running against Gavin Newsom. And there's a clip that came out about 3 weeks ago of a white woman in a gorilla mask throwing eggs and basically had a group of people that was sort of attacking the people that Larry Elder was with. Larry Elder is a black conservative. Well, Larry Elder has been called the black face of white supremacy. So in this situation, he's a black conservative. If you're a conservative, it makes you a white supremacist. Whether you're black or not. So he is a white supremacist, even though he's black. The white woman in a gorilla mask, which I thought was sort of like a racist trope or something, which I thought you were not allowed to do. A white woman in a gorilla mask can throw eggs and attack a black man. And in that sense, she is being anti-racist, you see. This whole racism thing this is why I fight against it so much. It's not even about racism anymore. It's just postmodern. You can make up all brand new definitions. Basically, anybody that is a conservative is a racist. Everybody that believes in conservative or Americanism or traditional values, you're a white supremacist. That's it. I want you to watch this clip about what Joy Reid is saying about all these horrible Republicans out there.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to read out tonight with a message to Republicans. Okay, we get it. COVID is the precious, and you love it. You love COVID so much you want it to spread in the schools, at the office, in the Walmart, on the cruise ships, and at the club. That gray spongy ball with the red spikes, you want it pumping through your veins with an ivermectin chaser. Why do you love it so daggone much? Well, we have absolutely no bloody idea. But here's the thing, you weirdos. Everyone else hates COVID. Yet you Republicans seem to be A-OK with COVID running wild. And then you came for California, trying to boot a Democratic governor from a blue state and hand it over to the COVID candidate.
I don't believe the science suggests that young people should be vaccinated. I don't believe the science suggests that young people should have to wear masks at school. I'm not sure the science is settled on that at all. And young people are not likely to contract the coronavirus. And when they do, their symptoms are likely to be mild, and they're not likely to be hospitalized, and they're certainly not likely to die.
If misinformation could kill. So Republicans, your thirst for COVID is why you lost. Nobody likes your policies that threaten our safety and our kids. You may want COVID. You may want to ingest horse dewormer and attend far too many funerals, but we don't.
Okay, so I play that clip for a couple of reasons, and we're about to wrap up. I play it for you for a few reasons. You can see the agendas happening, right? You can see the agendas happening in this one clip. All that the authoritarian movement wants to do is divide people. You divide people, and then you bludgeon the rest. You bludgeon the rest to say, you admit that ice cream is moral. We need to have unity. And what we mean by unity is not unity like it used to mean. It's postmodern unity. What we mean by unity is that we all have to think like me, and all of you need to be castigated out of society so that we keep this sort of like secular, puritanical thing, right? We're going to kick you get to wear the scarlet SD, and now you're kicked out of the society. We disassociate from you so that we can all have unity. That's all that this means. The reason I say that, you can see it in the clip. She said, what's wrong with all these Republicans? It's the big lie. All they don't want to do is whatever. You can see it with this one fact. One fact alone. We know, for instance, that 90% of black Americans voted for Biden, right? 90%. So that means that 90% in this case are Democrat. Well, blacks are also the number one ethnic, least vaccinated ethnic group in America. I'm not saying that to beat up on black people. I'm not vaccinated either. As I told you, I don't really care. The point is that 90% are Democrats, 43% are vaccinated. What about other people? Whites are over 50%. Asians are 70% plus vaccinated. Blacks are actually the least vaccinated race, for lack of a better term, race in America. So what is she talking about? It's all those Republicans. You can see it all of a sudden that what they're saying is not actually even true. It's not actually just Republicans. Yes, there's a large percentage of, you keep seeing these articles come out. I saw one in the New York Times. Even some Christians have written them. What's wrong with those white evangelicals? That's what they keep doing. White evangelicals won't get the vaccine. Why? Because I'll read one to you on another Cooper stuff. White evangelicals won't get it probably because they're racist, because they don't actually care about other people. Because all that white evangelicals care about is their own personal thing. That's what separates, apparently, I keep reading all these things. I've read it in 2 woke Christian books talking about, racial reconciliation. And in both books, what they're saying is that white evangelicals only care about personal salvation, whereas black Christians care about community transformation. And so they're beating up on basically white Christians for not understanding this and that and the other. It's a whole conversation which I won't go to. That's the idea. White evangelicals are the problem because they don't care about other people. All they care about is their own individual whatever. Well, what are you going to do about this? The actual statistics, not the science, but the actual data that blacks are actually less vaccinated than white people. 43% blacks, over 50% for white people, according to the data that I've read anyway. Well, Joy Reid takes it a step further. She usually goes off on white evangelicals for that. This time she's going off on just Republican voters. How are you going to do that when 90% of blacks voted for Biden and only 43%? Now, I'm not beating up on black people. A lot of black people feel the exact same way as I do about it. They're distrustful of the government. Me too. I'm allowed to agree with them. Right? Just because I'm not black doesn't mean I can't go read history and see some of the horrible things that this American government did to black people in terms of vaccines and experiments. That stuff is true. I've read those things. I think they're evil. I think they're horrible. I'm on their side. I'm on the side of that community of blacks in America that go, I don't really know if I'm going to trust the man. Me too, bro. I am absolutely with you. Me too. It's really amazing. This division, you divide and then you bludgeon them, you cast them out of society. Can you not see that this is what's going on? I don't even have to get into the science. I don't even have to get into the constitutionality of all this stuff. All that this is about is a revolution for political ideology. I'm standing up against it. I know all of you people that watch Cooper stuff are standing up against it. I'm not telling you anything today that you don't know. You already know all of this. You already know all this. But in case you are like me and you're having one of those days where you're like, I feel so beat up. Maybe I'm the crazy one. Cooper Stuff's here to tell you, you are not the crazy one. You are not the crazy one. It's just that we are so bombarded by it that we're exhausted, and it makes us weak. It makes us start feeling weak. I don't mean it makes us actually weak. It makes us feel like beat down, and we do not be beat down. Open your eyes, see what is going on. Stand up for truth. Come on now. If you agree with Cooper Stuff, make sure you tell somebody that doesn't agree. Send it to them. And also, if you agree, you are going to love my new record. Go check out our brand new song. It's called Surviving the Game. Thanks for watching Cooper Stuff.
Read the Bible.